I just pulled some oracle and I'm about to dive into tarot. We have the sacred masculine, a masculine energy that represents honor and support and protection. And this is where my mind was blown, and this is where I'm like, okay. We have the Mother Rose returning to each other, compassion and humanity. I've been picking up on this energy for the past few days, actually. I've been picking up on this really strong energy of like, there's unfinished business. Like you are meant to reconnect with somebody. And divine timing is definitely at play. Like this person needed to experience something in your time apart. They needed to kind of go through it a little bit. I feel like this person has been kind of having a more difficult time for some reason. Yeah, it feels like something didn't go their way, or they just got like distracted or pulled into somebody else's energy. The way that they are coming forward for this reconnection, though, is different. This is healed. Like, this is healed masculine energy. This is somebody who recognizes, like, what their role is meant to be in connection to you. Also, there's a very strong energy of fertility and pregnancy coming through here. So if you are desiring to have a family, or if you are desiring to experience that, there's definitely like something is happening behind the scenes for this. And I just get this energy of like this person, this is like a desire of their heart. And I feel like some type of ego had to be stripped away to even reveal that and allow you, like, it wasn't you. This person needed to go through something and experience something in order to be able to come forward and actually resonate with the energy that you are. And I feel like you're going to offer this person a lot of grace and understanding when they come forward to you. So I am going to be diving into tarot for this because I feel like there's just certain messages I can literally feel them on my heart that want to come through about what this person has processed and what this might look like, and how you might be feeling about all of this, and maybe just offer you some confirmations for this as well. So this in-depth reading is available for the members of the society. If you would like access to this in-depth reading, comment Angel Tarot and I will send you the link that gives you access. There's a 7-day complimentary trial for you to check it out and see if it's the right fit for you. Okay, so the Oracle has set the mood for this. We have the sacred masculine, we have the sacred mother. There's definitely the energy of rebirth, fertility, bringing new life into a situation. Revival is coming to mind, and returning to each other. Oh, I feel like this week was rough. I feel like this past week was a little bit rough. I feel like there was like, you were deep in it. But so was this person. Like, they were going through it. This person had to deal with some things. They needed to realign. Again, it's that energy of like, you were not out of alignment. They were. And you kind of felt the pressure. You kind of felt the disease and the distrust of like, oh, was it something I did? Like, was it me? But no, God is confirming like it was not you. It was nothing that you did. It was nothing that you could have done differently. This is this person's journey. Like, they needed to kind of go through this. They needed to recalibrate. They needed to reset. They came forward in this connection with a little bit of ego. Like they weren't really giving as much as they could have. Like, I feel like there was a little bit of imbalance as far as like what you received and what they received. There was a bit of imbalance, and it has to do with like something that this person has experienced in the past. I don't think that this person was expecting the connection to be as deep as it was with you. I think they kind of like misunderstood. And then once they realized, there was this like pause where it's like, oh, sure. Like, you brought something out, like you woke something up in this person that needed to come to life. And so when the two of you come back together, because there is this reunion energy, there is unfinished business. There's something that you are still meant to experience with this person, because nothing like inherently bad happened. Like this person didn't do anything awful to you. Like there was no, how do I explain it? There's no bad blood between the two of you. There's no ill will. It just feels like the timing wasn't right, the alignment, the frequency wasn't right. And so both of you kind of needed a reset, but they needed it more. And that's what is about to come to light. This person needed to be able to actually recognize you and your value and your worth beyond like the material, beyond the physical. And I feel like that was the ego that was kind of stripped away in this person's time away from you. And so I'm going to keep diving into this reading. If you feel called to dive in deeper, comment Angel Tarot and I will send you the link that gives you access to this. There's a complimentary 7-day trial for you to check out the society and see if it is a right fit for you.
Dear soul, if these words have stirred something deep within your heart, don't scroll away just yet. This moment may be far more important than you realize. Pause for a moment, place your hand over your heart, and boldly declare these words with faith. I am chosen. I am deeply loved. I am not forgotten. God is working behind the scenes for me. My love is divinely appointed, and my story is still being beautifully written. Say it again. Then say it one more time. Let every word sink into the deepest part of your spirit until fear begins to lose its grip. Doubt starts to fade, and hope rises again. Even if you cannot see what God is doing today, never mistake His silence for His absence. He's been walking beside you every step of the way, preparing blessings that will arrive exactly the right moment. If this message touched your heart, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you love. Somewhere, someone is carrying a burden too heavy to bear. Someone is crying in silence, wondering if God still sees them. Your share could be the answer to the very prayer they've been whispering through their tears. It could remind them that they are loved, chosen, and never alone. And if the Holy Earth places it on your heart to help us continue sharing these faith-filled messages with people around the world, you can support this ministry through a super thanks. Whether it's $5, $10, $20, or any amount God leads you to give, every gift helps us bring hope to the discouraged, peace to the anxious, and encouragement to those who desperately need a reminder that heaven has not forgotten them. May God bless every generous heart beyond anything you could imagine. May He multiply your kindness as opens no one can shut, restore doors no one can shut, restore everything you've lost, and pour out His favor upon you and your family. Thank you for standing with us. Together we are reaching hearts, strengthening faith, and reminding the world that God's love never fails. They had to lose you to finally understand what you were. There is a specific kind of grief that nobody writes songs about. It's not the grief of losing someone to death or to betrayal or to a clean and final ending where at least you know where you stand. It's the grief of a pause, of something that didn't quite finish, of a connection that stopped mid-sentence, mid-breath, mid-becoming. and left you holding the rest of the thought alone, wondering if the person who walked away is ever going to come back and finish what was started between you. You know this feeling. You've been carrying it quietly in the way that people carry things they don't have language for yet. Not always heavy, but always present. Like a song stuck in your head that you can't quite place, but can't stop hearing. Here is what you need to know about that feeling. It is not foolishness. It is not denial or wishful thinking dressed up as intuition. It is information. It is the deep, reliable, body level knowing that something between you and this person is not actually over. It is simply waiting for the right conditions. Waiting for one person in particular to catch up to what the other has known for longer than they'd probably admit. That person is almost caught up now. What the separation was actually. For when someone leaves, or when distance grows, or when a connection that felt so alive suddenly goes quiet, the natural human response is to search for the reason in yourself. What did I do? What didn't I do? Was I too much or not enough? Or some specific combination of both that I'll spend the next several months trying to identify and correct. You did that. Maybe you're still doing it a little. And the answer, delivered as clearly and as gently as possible, is it wasn't you. Not in the defensive, reassuring way that people say that when they want to end a difficult conversation. In the actual, literal, specific way. The disruption, the imbalance, the distance, the sense that something was slightly off in the frequency between you originated entirely on their side. You felt the pressure of it, absorbed it, internalized it the way sensitive people often do. But it was never yours to carry. You were not out of alignment. They were. And they needed to go be out of alignment on their own for a while, and away from the gravitational social pull you offer, in order to truly feel the difference. In order to understand in their body and not just their head what it costs to be without you. That is what the separation was for. Not punishment, not proof that the connection was wrong, but a necessary detour through difficulty that this person needed to take alone, because some lessons about the value of something only become clear in its absence. The ego that had to be stripped away. Let's talk about something that is a little uncomfortable but deeply important. This person came into your life not quite ready. Not in the obvious ways. They may have been charming, present, interested, but at a deeper level, they arrived with a layer of ego that was quietly distorting everything. Not maliciously. They probably weren't even aware of it. But it was there. In the slight imbalance of giving and receiving, in the way they underestimated the depth of what was developing between you, in the way they engaged with the surface of the connection without fully inhabiting the interior of it. They didn't understand what you were offering them, not because you weren't clear, but because they weren't yet capable of seeing it clearly. The ego creates a kind of selective vision. It shows you what flatters you, what serves you, what confirms what you already believe about yourself and the world. And it filters out very efficiently the things that would require you to grow beyond your current understanding of yourself. You woke something up in them that the ego was not prepared for. The depth of this connection, the specific, irreplaceable quality of what you brought into their life, exceeded what their existing framework could process. And so rather than expanding to meet it, they paused, retreated, got distracted or pulled sideways into something easier, something that didn't ask as much of them. And then life did what life does. It showed them what they had walked away from. Not gently either. The time apart was not comfortable for them. Something didn't go their way. Someone or something they turned or adored in your absence failed them in some way that the connection with you never had. And in that failure, in that specific personal experience of what it feels like when the real thing is absent and a lesser substitute is all that's available, the ego began to lose its grip. What was underneath it was softer, more honest, more genuinely human than the version they'd been presenting. The person who is coming back is not the same one who left. This is worth sitting with for a moment because it changes everything about how this reunion should be understood. The person returning to you is not the one who left. They share a name and a face and a history with that person. But something fundamental has shifted in the interior. They have been through something. They have been humbled, not crushed, but softened in the specific way that only genuine difficulty can soften a person. The places that were rigid have become more flexible. The places that were defended have become more honest. The understanding they now carry about their own capacity for love and about what they genuinely want from a life is cleaner and more grounded than it was before. They know what their role is meant to be in your life now. And they know it not because someone told them or because they reasoned their way to it intellectually. They know it because they felt of the cost of not being in that role. They felt the specific emptiness of not being who they were supposed to be for you. And that kind of knowing, embodied, earned, paid for in real time is a different thing entirely, framed from simply understanding something in theory. This is healed energy coming toward you. Slower, perhaps, than you would have preferred, later than you would have chosen, but real in a way that the earlier version wasn't quite capable of yet. The deep realization that lives at the center of this here is the insight that is perhaps the most important thing to take from this entire story. You cannot rush someone into the version of themselves that is capable of truly loving you. You can only create the conditions where growth becomes possible, and then allow them the space to either grow or not. You did everything right. You brought something real and rare and deeply nourishing into this person's life. You saw them, actually saw them in the specific way that changes a person permanently before they were ready to be seen. And when they weren't ready, they pulled back. And you, because of who you are, felt that pulling back as though it said something about your worth. It said nothing about your worth. What it said, the only thing it ever said was that growth is not always immediate. That the best loves are not always the most immediately convenient ones. That sometimes the person who is meant for you needs to take a circuitous route through their own becoming before they can arrive at the door of yours and actually be ready to walk through it. They are at that door now. Changed, quieter in the way that people become when they've stopped performing and started being. More certain of what they want and less interested in the ego-driven alternatives that always leave them feeling emptier than when they started. You were never the problem, but here is you can do you, and I want you to receive this with the full weight it carries. You were never the thing that needed to change in this story. The self-questioning you've been doing, the quiet inventory of everything you might have done differently, the moments where you convinced yourself that if you had just been slightly less, or slightly more, or slightly different in some way you can't quite name, all of that has been borrowed suffering. Pain that doesn't belong to you, taken on because the alternative, which is trusting that something was simply not ready yet and waiting for it to become ready, feels more vulnerable than self-blame does. Self-blame is painful, but it gives you something to work on. Trusting the timing of something you can't control is a different kind of difficult, the kind that asks you to simply hold your own sense of worth steady while someone else does the growing they need to do. You have held it steady, imperfectly, certainly, with doubt and with moments of wondering if you were naive to keep believing. But steady enough, present enough, open enough that when this person's comes back through the door they walked out of, there will be something real and alive to walk back into. What new life looks like. There is something being born in the space between where you've been and where this is going. Not just the relationship being revived, though that is part of it. Something larger. Something that the two of you were specifically brought together to create, experience, or contribute. Whether that manifests as a family, a shared life built on foundations that are now genuinely solid, or something creative and purposeful that neither of you could have generated alone. There is a fertility to this reunion that goes beyond the romantic. The vision is one of two people who have each traveled their own difficult road, arriving at the same destination from different directions. Both changed by the journey, both carrying something earned, both ready, finally and genuinely, to build something that lasts. Not the fragile, early version of something between you, but the version that comes after difficulty has been survived and ego has been surrendered, and the question of whether this is worth it has been answered clearly and permanently by everything that happened when it was gone. How you will receive them, and here is perhaps the most quietly beautiful part of this whole story. When they come forward, and they will, you are not going to meet them with arms crossed and a list of grievances and a test they need to pass before you'll allow yourself to believe again. That's not who you are. That was never who you were. You are going to meet them with something that is rarer and more powerful than any of that. Grace. The kind of grace that comes from truly understanding that people grow at the pace they grow, that the journey this person needed to take was their own, and that the version standing in front of you now is genuinely different from the one who left. That grace is not weakness. It is the most advanced form of love there is. It says, I see who you were, and I see who you are now, and I am choosing to honor the distance between those two things rather than punish you for it. The story isn't over. It's just beginning. The separation was a chapter. A painful, confusing, necessary chapter in a story that is still being written, and chapters end. They have to end before the next one can begin. This one is ending now. What comes next? The reunion, the rebuilt foundation, the new life being conceived in the space where two healed people finally meet each other as equals, is the part of the story that all the earlier chapters were building toward. You were always going to arrive here, both of you, at this exact point, carrying exactly what you now carry, ready for exactly this. It was just not yet complete. It is complete now, and what begins from here is worth every quiet, difficult moment it took to reach it.